I haven't been posting so much recently, and I'm sorry for that, but I've been so busy when it comes to work, and I will continue to be so. But I'll do my best to make my videos because I like to do them, and I hope you will enjoy also watching, of course. That means a lot for me, that kind of support. However, I did manage to play some recently, and I was looking into a game that has been recently released on Steam, and that game is Arena Breakout Infinite. This is a free-to-play extraction shooter. Yes, it's another extraction shooter, and a game that has been around some time now, having its own launcher that has been available for quite some time before the actual release on Steam. But I've been waiting for the game to be launched on Steam, so here we are. The game is developed and published by More Fun Studios, who is a division of Tencent Games, a major Chinese gaming company, if you didn't know that. It was established in 2010 and is one of Tencent's major development studios, with its headquarters based in China. And I can tell that it's the case just by clicking through the menu, because there's quite a few clicks that has to be executed just to get where you want when it comes to the UI. And it does remind me a bit about Delta Force, having the same kind of layout or system, if you will, something that other has been mentioning as well. I guess this style of menus are a bit more common and also maybe more accepted in Asia compared to what we see in the Western world. The game looks pretty good though, and the audio is also good, or at least decent. I know that they've done quite some updates and changes further development with the game, compared to how it was and played about maybe 6 months ago or even before that. But maybe that comes with a cost, since some players says that it have lost a bit of its originality due to repetitive gameplay loop and frustrating mechanics, high cost for little reward, and a lack of variety that makes the experience feel more like a show than a thrill. Arena Breakout has been described by some as a lighter version of, let's say, Escape From Tarkov, and more accessible to new players and players that aren't so used to play extraction shooters overall compared to these more hardcore titles in the genre. And even though that can be a positive thing, making it a bit of a more lighthearted or arcadish experience even of an extraction shooter, it can also mean that some will feel that it isn't engaging enough for them or rewarding enough for them to continue to play Arena Breakout Infinite. I'm not someone that usually spend a lot of time playing extraction shooters, but I was curious even so to try out the game, and yes, it is pretty easy to get into and start ranking up a bit after a successful loot and extraction experience. However, it becomes very repetitive fast, especially since you're able to play only one map for a long time before unlocking the next one, and you can only play normal mode since you need to reach level 12 in order to play something called a lockdown zone, which is supposed to be the harder version of a map and includes entry costs and gear value minimums in order to enter a raid. This system creates a problem, at least for me, since getting up to level 12 does take some time, and being stuck in this normal mode, killing bots mainly, gets boring and repetitive quite fast. There's not really a strong incentive for me, at least, to force myself through these levels in order to unlock new game modes. I can understand in a way why they've done it like this. I've seen it also before, like similar systems in other more tactical and hardcore shooters, because they might assume that people need introduction and get the know-how before playing against more real people, meaning more PvP and less PvE. But at the same time, if someone chooses to play a game like this, most people, nowadays at least, has played similar games before, and I therefore think it would be better for the game and the community and the players that is trying out the game to be able to reach the other game modes a bit faster. Or we simply need more real players and less bots in the normal mode. Not sure what you think about that, let me know in the comments. It could be so that the game will grow over time, since these are my first impressions, but at the same time, when you're playing and you start to look at your watch, wondering how long it will take, and also mark the extraction point on the map way too early, then you know that something is wrong. It could just be so that this game is not for me. It could be as simple as that, of course, but I'm pretty sure that it might be a game for other players than me, maybe you watching the video. I do also know that the monetization system in the game was initially at least a hot potato discussion, since it was considered pay to win due to the ability to purchase the in-game currency coins with real money, allowing players to buy powerful weapons, ammo, and equipment to gain an unfair advantage over free-to-play players. However, the developers later announced changes to remove coin purchases and give players a free secure case indicating a response to the backlash and a move away from the pay-to-win mechanics that caused controversy at launch. On top of that, there has also been reports when it comes to imbalances in the game, particularly concerning the overpowering M61 ammunition, the lack of gear level matchmaking, and the prevalence of tier 6 gear in lower tier zones. These imbalances, alongside concerns about pay-to-win mechanics, as we mentioned before, that hopefully has been toned down now, a lack of developer communication and stale content have led to frustration and also perception that the game is unbalanced. Now, is this something that you agree upon? If you play the game more than I have, is this still a problem in the game? Feel free to fill in. So, what about the future for a game such as Arena Breakout Infinite? Well, as I've said before in many other videos, the competition is fierce. It's hard to establish a new game, even though it might be free to play, which will of course attract more players, at least to try the game out, and we'll see what happens from there. At the same time, there are other competitors such as Arc Raiders, and I also believe that Escape From Tarkov will soon be released also on Steam. So maybe it's going to be tough for a game like this to survive in the long run. Let me know again what you think about it and your impressions when it comes to Arena Breakout Infinite. I've also heard that there's already cheaters in the game. I'm not surprised. I hope it's not going to be overwhelming, at least in the game. Let me know your thoughts later.